Yeah. So process for me is, again, I'm refining, I'm shaping, but the very first thing is like just I think it's kind of a thing I've picked up from comedians and listening to comedians talk, in particular like Jerry Seinfeld, but just always being aware and always just thinking and listening. And so I try to capture ideas religiously. Like if I showed my overhead camera right now, I probably have 50 index. I mean, I can show you at least this. I have 50 index cards and sticky notes of just ideas and stuff.
Yeah,
And
I
there's
love it.
even I just lost one. There's it's
That's how
probably the
quickly
million dollar
ideas
idea.
come and go, man.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? But I'm constantly doing two things, just kind of paying attention, observing stuff. I'm thinking about ideas. I'm trying to get better at asking people questions like, what are you
Mhm.
struggling with? I'll do like a one-on-one coaching call with someone, and I'll just ask them, hey, if I could do one video, what would be the most beneficial? And just learning really to listen to people, to gather ideas. And maybe we'll talk about this later, but I think I'm in the biggest possible shift of my career and content focus right now, because I'm sensing a change, and I'm sensing a change in the audience I'm pursuing and who the new audience is. And so I'm
Mhm.
very attunely aware of this like listening phase. So for me, that's then capturing all those ideas. I use Trello religiously. It's just a tool I like, but however you do it, just capture ideas. So Trello is the main thing where everything goes, and I call it content like editorial calendar. So it's just an inbox. And
Mhm.
then from there, I tend to try to categorize, which is really helpful. And I like to think of, if you could see, it's like just straight out of view, but behind me is a big calendar on the wall with um, post-it notes, and I'm like moving stuff around. I always try to
Yeah.
think of like, I've always wanted to be like a writer on a comedy show, and
Yeah,
like
dude.
be on SNL or something. And so that idea of like the board and I'm putting
Mhm.
ideas up is
Get
really
on the board.
helpful. But yeah, so for
And
me, the next piece,
Trello's project management, right?
yeah, Trello's project management. The big thing with
Yeah.
Trello is it's typically Kanban boards or Kanban boards, however you say it, and
Mhm.
so it's like process oriented.
Yeah.
But I just start with a big pool of content, wherever that goes. Next step for me tends to be like categorization of that. So where does that lie for me? Like, what's the audience I'm trying to reach? What's the group? Something I did last year that's really beneficial, which honestly I kind of missed a little bit this year, is I committed to release a piece of content every single day on YouTube last year,
Hmm.
and I took a couple weeks off, and in the midst of doing all that, we sold our house and moved across country, and I pre-recorded 2.5 months worth of content. So like it was a
Mhm.
pretty great process. But
Yeah.
in order to do, and people would always ask me, how in the world do you do 7 pieces of content? Well, I'm like, I'm not waking up in the morning and going, what's the idea to work on?
You
i'm
already
i'm
have it.
constantly thinking, and then I put everything into buckets. So when I
Mhm.
first started, it was like my buckets were: Monday was podcast behind the spacebar, Tuesday was troubleshooting, Wednesday was focused for worship leaders, Thursday was a podcast focused on worship leaders, Friday was focused on tracks, Saturday was focused on gear, Sunday was focused on Sunday sound design. And so I basically had 7 shows I was producing content for. And so then you just try to keep the buckets full. So then I move from all these ideas, try to categorize them, and just lay out like, okay, here's all my gear topics. And some of those have gone away. Doing that last year is really beneficial because it helped me again narrow down what audience I'm trying to reach, and who I'm reaching and who I'm not. And then from there, that moves into what I call my content assembly line, which is a Trello board, and it's literally dictated out by outline, film, uploading, editing, which gets sent off to a buddy of mine that edits, and then back to me for ready review. Then I review it. Then it goes to Fiverr, someone on Fiverr to make chapters for it. Goes to my buddy John to write copy for it, title, description, couple of variations of that. Thumbnails right now is myself and my wife kind of collaborating on that, and then review everything, and then from there it's all distribution. And so that has gotten very like rote and routine, and that's something I'm trying to in a good way. I've figured out what it needs to be. Now the next piece for me is getting that documented and handing that off. But as far as creating that process, that's something I've learned and adapted and changed, because I'm really good at bulk creating. Like I can,
Yeah.
you said I'm a really hard worker, but in reality, I'm probably the laziest person I know.
Just smart.
But
Smart worker.
yeah, and I think, and I used to think like, oh, I'm lazy, and lazy means you never do work, but it just means I also get bored really easily. So that means I have to kind of batch stuff. But
Yeah.
one thing I'm getting back to when it comes to the creation of content is if I go long periods of time between creating courses or creating tutorials, it's really difficult for me to get it cranked back up to a point where I'm
Yeah.
happy with it. So you can always tell if I take a break, it takes about 2 to 3 tutorials for me to really feel like I've got this dialed in and nailed down.
Muscle
So
memory.
yeah, so I'm really trying to optimize my day so that every day I can come into the studio here and record 1 or 2 pieces of content and just keep rolling
Love
constantly.
it.
So I think we're up to like April now. We're recording this in March, I think. Are we in March? Yeah, I think in March.
Yeah.
So I think I've got content through April recorded.
Yeah.
And that really helps to get you off the like flywheel of just feeling like I've got to constantly create content. So
Yeah.
I know
You
what's
just
coming.
dated us because I don't think yours is going to roll out till like May or June. But
Yeah, I mean, I'll be on the beach sipping mimosas by then.
Yeah.
But